Welcome to another episode of the Debate Circle. Our motion today is increased foreign investment in Africa is detrimental to our economic growth. Proposing this motion is St. Paul's High School, and the opposers of this motion are the Archangels Kanyweri. My name is Gloria Bengay, and I'm going to be your host for this episode.
One man's meat is another man's poison. Alvaro Mwangi from the prestigious St. Paul's High School, ready to champion the motion that says increased foreign investment in Africa is detrimental to our economic growth. Firstly, foreign investment. This is when a foreign country resulting in a cash flow consideration transferring from country to next. Detrimental. This is harm or damage or trending to cause harm. Economic growth refers to the increase in the size or a country's economy over a period of time. On to my first point. Increased debt. For example, let's take the SGR. According to the constructionkenya.com, it says that the SGR cost 1.23 trillion Kenya shillings without interest, without interest. So, the SGR took 1.023 trillion, which the country didn't have. So, it had to take a debt in order to construct the SGR, which increased the detrimental to our economic growth. Since they took the debt, they increased the taxation, which affected our economy. According to the World Bank, total public debt stands at an estimated 68% of GDP for fiscal year 2023/2024. So, according to the World Bank, it is estimated that the total public debt stands at 68%. As it stands at the 68%, you are supposed to know that in the condition the country is in right now, they are not able to pay the debt, so they have to increase the taxation, which affects our economic growth. So, if they increase our taxation, it affects the economic growth. So, and the government, it is increasing the taxation in order to be able to pay the debt. But what is happening? They are increasing the taxation in order to invest more, and to invest more so that they continue doing the government. So I hope my opponents here, they are able to face the storm that is against them. Thank you.
As it is said that every decision made has consequences, and every decision we have positive consequences and negative consequences. Those are the results. This Valentine Karemi from the Archangels Kanyweri opposing the motion that states increased foreign investment in Africa is detrimental to our economic growth. Detrimental first is the definition of these ones. Foreign investment, it means that not the Africans who are investing in their own countries, but we have foreigners coming into our countries and then bringing their investment into a country, or bringing what they have into the African countries. Detrimental, it means that it is harmful or it is causing harm to our economic growth. And as I oppose this motion, we'll have whereby the foreign investment or the foreign investors, they are causing or they are benefiting us. The fact is that people tend to think that the foreigners will bring harm to us. But as I have said, as you make a decision, then you should be able to face the consequences, or you should be able to determine, or to go with the determination will be whether the positive decision or the main effect, whether the negative or the positive. Then you should look at those so that you may be able to determine your decision. My first point, we have the transfer of knowledge and skills. When the foreigners invest in our countries, or in the African countries, will have whereby the Africans will acquire this knowledge and skills. These skills will enable them also to develop the African countries. If you do not acquire these skills, we'll not be able to develop also our own countries. So in such a way, we have to depend on these countries, and that is why as I'm opposing this motion by saying that they are benefiting us by giving us skills and the knowledge that will enable us to establish or to make our economic grow. If we acquire these skills, they enable us, for example, my fellow has talked about the reconstruction of the railway. But when the Africans, this railway has benefited us so much. In the sector of transport, we have been able to transport our goods. For example, it links Kenya to Uganda. When it links Kenya to Uganda, then it has made the transportation easy. And this has benefited the Africans, or the Kenyans in short, and also the Africans in general. On that point, we have also, on the same point, the Africans are benefiting in job opportunities, where we have that in the SGR or in the railway, obviously we have people working there, and these are the Africans, so we have benefited. On that one, I'll base on that and know that we look at the positive effect because they are more than the negative. Thank you.
My name is Heldred Mwiti from this prestigious St. Paul's High School, and I'm here to propose the motion that states increased foreign investors in Africa is detrimental to our economic growth. First, I would like to tell my first opposer that if you say that you spoke about my first speaker spoke about the construction of the railway line from the construction of the railway line, but are you looking at the effects that were made? First effect to correct you was that during the construction of the SGR standard gauge railway line, we had displacement. We had displacement of people. We had also destructions of town. Meaning, when the SGR, when we were using the huge lorries to carry our goods from here to from Kenya to Uganda, we had towns which developed, towns which when a car stopped, we had people who will rush to wash the vehicle, who are then being paid, leading to economic growth. So if we internalize this motion, we are saying that if we invest locally, when I mean, I've just given an example of the huge lorries and promoting people to come and watch, which are being paid, increasing the economy of Kenya. That's why you continued and said that the SGR gives there was job opportunities. We are not opposing you when you say it has led to job opportunities, but are you looking behind to those people who were left behind and were were made to move out because the lorries were no longer to be passed? I was a local person who was depending on the lorries being passing by. I wash them, I get money. Also, I have an hotel accommodation for the people, and I have this and this and this. So when you decide to increase the number of SGRs, where am I going to get my basic needs? Because I was depending on that lorries which were passing by so that I can get my basic needs. On to my first point. So, my first point is that when I like to answer me this question. When the SGR was being constructed, it increased debt. So, are you telling us the numbers that if there was a 2.5 trillion that was being carried from Kenya to pay the loan at China, what if the percentage that was left was used to pay the debt was in Kenya? What could we do with the money? We could start and invest in locally. And ladies and gentlemen, I want you to stand with me and say that increased foreign investors in Africa is detrimental to our economic growth. Thank you.
It is better not to settle a question without debating it, than rather settle a question without debating it. I am John Lenny Mwendwa from the Great School of the Archangels Kanyweri, here to stand firm and to raise my voice to the opposition team. So the first point I'd like to make is political and economic stability. Foreign investments can contribute to political stability by promoting economic growth and reduce the poverty reduction. Example, the Botswana. What do you know about the Botswana? The Botswana, they still had a stable political governance since they gained their independence in 1966. And so, the foreign investment, particularly in the mining sector, of which is diamond, has played a significant role in the country's economy. The government has managed resource revenues effectively, especially in the field of agriculture, infrastructure, education, and healthcare, which has contributed to the overall economic productivity. You may have noticed in my statement that I have mentioned education, and I'd like to ask a question to my fellow proposers. Despite the differences in our communities, and despite the differences in languages, will a country carry out education to all without foreign investors? Due to foreign investment, we have been able to acquire education. For example, here in Kenya, education was started by Johann Rebman at the Rabbi Church, at a school in Mombasa, and they did the interactions between everyone with the So the government, which was the Church Ministry Society, enabled the people of Africa to unite together through learning about God and realizing that, making Africans to realize that in different African communities, we have different gods. And also in the second statement, we have the capital investment. Foreign investors, they bring much needed capital to African communities, which can be used to finance infrastructure, projects, and industrial development, and other sectors of the economy, which has helped stimulate economic productivity. This has improved the business environment, and it has also helped to enhance the skill of local employees, and this improves the welfare productivity. So before I finish my last statement, I'd please like to ask the proposers to join the opposition team, which says increased foreign investment leads to our economic growth, since foreign investment opens doors to markets, enabling local industries to access global customers and diversify the revenue streams. Thank you.
Africa is not poor. we are stealing its wealth. These were the headlines on Al Jazeera, 24 May 2017. I've heard you say that the country is benefiting from the foreign investments. I know at first you are an African, and indeed the people come to invest in Kenya. I can give you an example with the Indians. They do come to invest in Kenyans, but when they do come to invest in Kenya, this is detrimental to our economy. For example, there was a quarrel about the SGR. Indeed, the president signed it so that the SGR can be brought into Kenya. It was our own. Indeed, this SGR is helpful into our economy for. I can see you're trying to explain that it's helpful in our economy. But what are the consequences? By what percentage? You're saying that the Kenyans got the job opportunities. By what percentage? By what percentage did they, not Kenyans only who are working in the SGR. They are Chinese. At what percentages? Are they Kenyans or Chinese who are most in the, who are much in this SGR? Again, you have said that in Kenya, indeed, the country is suffering. The Kenya country is suffering, at most the African countries. But you are not giving us the statistics that, in Africa, the foreign people are coming to invest in Africa. Africa is rich, but as Africans, we are not able to invest. For example, if you'd go and invest in an M-Pesa, you go to invest into an M-Pesa shop, or you open a shop and invest in that shop, you go to invest in Carrefour, where you don't know if you invest in this shop, you may get much money than you are going to invest in foreign investors. You are an African. You need to give us the correct thing. We need to see the correct figure and convince people's mind so that they can join us to say that the foreign investors coming to Kenya is detrimental, is giving us harm as Africans. This is what we want to see. This is what we want to see. Indeed, the corrupting of towns and centers, it has been mentioned here by the first speaker. And I think that in the www.thestart.co.ke, it says that many people have lost their jobs because of the SGR, which was the Chinese contract. So we need to see the correct figure of what percentage, how many people benefited from this SGR, how many. I think you should join us and propose this motion for when the Chinese are coming in Kenya, they are really bringing harm. Thank you.
Okay, what a butterfly of a competition it is, but stings like a bee. At your presence is Samuel Fundi from the Archangels. So on my first point is to congratulate our colonizers for giving us the way view or the loophole to be able to develop ourselves. Because when you look back in the years before we were colonized, before 1963, we find that we used to have these booths of the phones. You find that technology was not advanced as it is nowadays. Through the colonization of these people, we were able to be invested and acquire this knowledge, where nowadays everyone has access to a cell phone. Again, through the colonizers, they are able to give us, they even brought technology, whereby nowadays, even in our classes, we use the laptops to read. So my question is, where would we be at if it were not for these investors? Okay, take a look at the GDP ratio of South Africa and Kenya. If right now, through their collaboration with the British, their GDP ratio is the highest compared to the other countries. So as the investors invest in our Africa, there's increased job opportunities. Take, for example, nowadays in the Del Monte factory. The Del Monte factory is an investment that is brought about by the investors from the other countries. So you find that it gives a pathway for opportunities for these people to eke a living in their economic lives. Again, you find that these colonizers were able to show us the right way to be. Again, take a look at the electronic cars that now are being brought. Where have they come from? The investors, of course. Okay, if they come from investors, they are good for us. Why? Why, you may ask? They reduce the air pollution, they reduce the noise pollution, they give a way view where it conserves the environment and does not affect our climate. The reason why I'm proposing this motion is that our country could not be where it is if it were not for these investors. Why? Because the investors took a lot of time to build our country. You are saying about the SGR. Right now, take a look. If you transport your goods from, let's say, from Nairobi to Mombasa through a carway, it's very tiresome. But when you put it in the SGR, it's just around a few minutes. And to close it all, I'd like to leave us with a question. Is it that we should continue allowing our investors to invest into us? That's a question to answer for yourself. Thank you.
What's done cannot be undone. These were words from Chuck Norris. I think you have just mentioned that we should thank our colonizers. Really? How can we thank them? If they took our people to their farms so that they can work for them, how can we thank them? How can we thank our colonizers? I want first to correct you by saying you are a proposer. Did you forget what you came here to do? You are an opposer. We are proposers. We are not here just to debate, but to give facts and figures. You've said that they came to invest in Africa. Indeed, they came to invest, but by colonizing us, we were left in problem. The investors who came in Africa, they just brought harm to us. In matters concerning the technology, you have said, where would we be if we didn't have these colonizers? We would be alive. Yes, they are not giving us oxygen. They are human beings like us. They just came to Kenya or in Africa to invest. So you can't tell me where would we be? We would be alive. And at times, if before they came to know the continent called Africa, people were living. They knew how they would live. And again, there are some technologies which have been developed in Africa. By telling us that we should thank our colonizers, it's of no need. Because when these investors come to Africa, they are just bringing harm and more harm. I want to tell you that you should just join us, and we propose the motion and say that it really, we have been brought harm into Africa. Really, we are in danger. For when the foreigners come to invest in us, we are left in trouble. We are left in trouble. Indeed, Africans, we need to open up our eyes and see the danger we are in. Because by the foreigners coming in Africa to invest, it's of no need if they're leaving us into more harm and more harm. Really, Africans, we need to open up our eyes. Please, my dear opposers, just join us. We are giving out facts. What is the truth? You need to give people what is the truth. And please, let me remind you for the last time, don't forget that you are opposers. Thank you.
As I started by stating that as you also make a decision, you also consider both sides. And for example, if you make a decision, you have to consider the side that will cause benefit to you. My proposer here has said that the fact we still alive as Africans, but alive. Yeah, we could be alive, but the question remains. Yes, we could be alive, but technologically, we could be behind. As yet, we know that African countries, many of them are yet developing. But look at a country like, though not an African country, look at the United States of America. Why is the United States of America considered as a superpower? This is because the United States of America allowed the investors to invest in their country. And that is why you find that even it is one of the countries that is developing the nuclear weapons, because investors gave them knowledge and skills that is making them now to be termed as a superpower country. Thank you.
Alvarez Mwangi. Alvarez Mwangi, you defined the terms well. You gave a very good SGR story, though we expected some aspects of tangible sources and statistics. And then your flow was a bit disjointed, making it hard to follow you. Then lots of reading, repetition. I would like you to build on confidence. Eldad Mwiti, you are a very good debater. You can make it if you build on the mastery of your language. You're not quite coherent. You spend too much time rebattling, and in actual fact, you did not present your points. You spent all the 3 minutes rebattling. You did not make your case. And then Kenloy Mugambi, a good debater also, but you kept asking a very relevant question. By what percentage?